This video is about my potential discovered frequential orbital motion quantization mechanism of captive celestial objects that appears to unite two pillars of quantum mechanics on one hand, the Broglie and Born, and classical physics on the other hand, via Kepler's third law. The first fundamental component of this frequential orbital motion quantization mechanism is the orbital frequency of captive celestial objects. Based on my potential findings, it appears that every captive celestial object, like a planet, is equipped by its Captor celestial object, like a star, with an orbital frequency denominated here as dc. For a captive, its orbital frequency is materialized by the division of the speed of light, c, and its orbital velocity, v, hence the equation dc equals c over v. Then there come the roles of the orbital frequency of captive celestial objects. Based on my potential findings, the Captor sets up a unique orbital frequency for a captive in order to determine the latter's orbital velocity, orbital radius, and orbital period, as shown in the present equations. Based on my potential findings, it turns out that there exists a direct link between the frequential orbital periods of captive celestial objects and Kepler's third law, as shown in their respective equations here. Kepler's third law states that the cube value of the semi-axis of the orbit of the captive, symbolized here by the term r in the equation, is proportional to the square value of the orbital period thereof, symbolized here by the term t in the equation, and Newton had discovered an exact equation for Kepler's third law as shown here. Through my calculations, the said direct link can be obtained by raising to the power of 2, then multiplying by gm over gm the orbital period of captives defined by the discovered equation as shown here. The two mathematical operations lead to the revelation of a new equation of the frequential orbital motion quantization mechanism, as shown here. The reason for being of the multiplication by gm over gm is that its value is just 1, therefore does not affect the equation itself, but to reveal Newton's term for pi squared over gm. It turns out that the potential discovered orbital radius equation of the frequential orbital motion quantization mechanism, shown here via the letter r, is embedded inside the newly obtained orbital period equation, shown here via the letter t squared. By simply inserting r to replace its equation, we can see the emergence of Newton-induced Kepler third law equation. Y orbital frequency of captive celestial objects is a potential signature of de Broglie, by the way, you might ask. De Broglie had predicted that matter must exhibit quantum waves due to their wave-particle duality nature. Based on a potential discovered frequential orbital motion quantization mechanism previously presented, every captive celestial object appears to exhibit a de Broglie, by the way, via an orbital frequency uniquely initiated by its Captor. Y orbital frequency of captive celestial objects is a potential signature of the Born rule of quantum mechanics, you might ask too. Based on my potential discovered frequential orbital motion quantization mechanism previously presented via the orbital radius equation, the Born rule of quantum mechanics appears to reveal itself here via the square value of the orbital frequency. And finally, by discovered frequential orbital motion quantization mechanism appears to reveal the quantized nature of gravity via the orbital frequency of captive celestial objects and the gravitational energy potential of the Captor celestial objects. This is because the said frequential orbital motion quantization mechanism contains two fundamental elements. First, the quantizer via the orbital frequency of the captives, dc. This quantizer can be raised to the power of 1, 2, or 3, depending on its assignable orbital velocity, radius, or period. 2. The quanta via the gravitational energy potential of the Captor, gm over c squared or gm over c cubed, depending on its assignable orbital radius or period.